This is Dr. Maria Hopp from the Littleton Clinic, and today we're going to be talking about making some personal protective equipment, PPE we're calling it now. So as you all know, there is a shortage now of PPEs, and healthcare people need masks in order to help take care of you. Currently, the hospitals are not calling for us to make homemade masks, but we feel like this might happen soon, and we certainly need to use those because we don't have the appropriate number of masks that we need in order to protect everyone this year from the coronavirus. So on our website, you will find the PDF that contains the pattern. So there's going to be a filter layer, a lining, and a water protectant layer. So we've really carefully thought about this, what are things that you would have at home available that we could use to make masks out of and still meet some of the criteria that we need to use in order to make a safe mask. So one of the things that would be good is we're going to use the reusable grocery bags. So these are the ones, they are water repellent, so you drop water on them, the water doesn't soak through, but they're porous, so people can breathe through this, and that's going to be important. There is also the sacks that have the kind of a more plastic feel. These are not going to work because it would suffocate the person. They're not going to be able to breathe through that. And then there's also this type of bag. It's a little bit more nylon, but it's not as water repellent. So we're going for these reusable grocery bags, but the kind that are somewhat water repellent, but breathable at the same time. And then for the lining layer, what we're going to be using is this is just a cotton fabric, so that we have something. Our goal is to make a mask that is reusable. So we're going to make an outside portion that is washable, that we can just wash every night, and then we're going to have an inside filter that we can easily replace. So for the inside filter layer, you can use something. This is a non-woven cloth, it blocks a lot. This is just from a disposable hand towel. But even better than that will be to get the filter out of a furnace filter. So this is a MER 13. The filtering capacity is small enough that it can filter out some viruses, which is what we're really interested in now. So we are going to cut out, first cut out your patterns. Cut out your pattern pieces. You're going to get paper pieces that you're going to pin to. This is just I cut a grocery sack. So we're going to cut that out. So these are both curved because we want these to be able to fit to your face. And not just be like a flat piece of fabric, because there's going to be a lot more gaps around the edges, and we're trying to block up as many gaps as we possibly can. So then we have our two pieces like so, and these are reversible, so it doesn't matter. So we're going to just sew these together. I'm using a 3/8 inch seam here. So then I just sewed the curve of that together, and I'm going to do the same thing here with the lining piece. So the lining piece, it has an inside and an outside, so I'm putting the right sides together, and I'm going to stitch that also along the same curved ends. All right, so now we got the two pieces are both connected at the curved edge there. All right, so now we're going to take this lining piece and we're going to just fold the edge over. So we're going to make a nice even pocket here eventually. So I'm going to fold this and stitch that down. It's just a flat stitch on either side. Okay, and I'm going to stitch the same, just fold on the other side. So now this is the front side of the lining piece, and this is the back side. So it has a seam down the middle, and then the edges are just top stitched, like a fold with a top stitch. So then I'm gonna take these two pieces and I'm gonna put them right sides together. So I'm gonna match up the center here. I'm gonna match up the middle, and I'm gonna follow the curve. And the outside, the water repellent layer is gonna be longer than the inside layer, and that we want that. That is okay. So match up your centers, but the outside is gonna be longer, and do that like all the way across. So I'm gonna start here and sew across the top. I'm just using a pretty narrow stitch here, or seam. Like it's like a quarter of an inch, mostly because I don't want to bother with having to do the curved sides. So I'm just doing it the easy way, which is just to kind of make a fairly narrow seam here. So now I am going to do the same thing on the bottom, all right? So then we're gonna have the two sides are gonna fit together. I got right sides together, and now I'm gonna sew the bottom. So when we're off just a smidge, the lining piece is a little bit longer, and that's okay because this isn't fashion. This is utility here, so it doesn't really matter if we're not perfect. So now we have the two pieces like so, right sides together. And what we want to do now is we want to make a pocket out of this piece so that we can put the elastic through. So we're going to fold down the top of that on either side. And then I'm gonna just double fold it here to make a pocket. And you can top stitch that if you don't like doing it like that. That is totally fine, but probably overkill, and again, in this situation. So this, here, I'm just gonna trim off that edge, make it easier to fold. Okay, so again, I fold down the seam allowance here on the top and the bottom. And then I'm going to fold it once, fold it twice, and I'm going to stitch it down and make a pocket. So I'm not going to sew the top or the bottom because that's where the elastic is going to go through on either side. Make the pocket too skinny, it's hard to get the elastic through, so keep that in mind. Make the first fold narrow, and do not sew the lining down. So the pocket has to be, there's a pocket here, it has to be separate from the lining piece. You're making a little place for the elastic to go through, but that's not sewn to the lining. So I used to love to sew it all the time. Haven't done it for a while, so it's kind of interesting, like how things change so quickly. Get out the old sewing machine here and have at it. You guys can do the same thing. It'd be super helpful. Like, we just don't know what's going to happen, and we want to be as ready as we can. And if other healthcare workers need these, then I think it'd be a great thing to have out there and have ready. So when you're making some, if you could, make some for us, make some for yourself too, you know? The more we can protect each other, the better off we're gonna be. Okay, so I have a pocket on the outside of my mask here, and I'm gonna sew another pocket. Again, so I just fold down the seam allowance and do the other side the same way. These are not going to be like OSHA standards by any means, but right now we're working on good enough. So, and every little bit helps. All right, so now I'm going to take the whole shebang and I'm going to turn it inside out. Like so. So the blue is going to be the layer on the outside, and then the white and black is going to be the layer on the inside. And so the last thing that we need to do is we need to sew a spot for the nose piece. So on the pattern, it's marked here about how long that nose piece is. It's about 2.5 inches. The nose piece is going to be about 5 inches long. So then I'm just going to make a little, I'm going to just stitch about a 1/2 inch seam across the top here, following the curve. Don't make it too close to the edge or you won't be able to get the little nose piece in. And don't sew the ends close because we're going to stick that nose piece in there. So all I did here was just sew a line across the top. So that's where we're going to put the nose piece. So the nose piece is variable. So one thing that you could use that would work would be a pipe cleaner. So you can cut the pipe cleaner, cut it about like 6 inches long, and then fold the edges so it doesn't poke anybody, and you can shove that through. You might need a safety pin. And then maybe a little bit more durable would be just some copper or even some aluminum wiring. So it's going to be like a fairly bendable wire because people are going to have to fit this around their nose. So we want that piece to be about like 5 inches long. So I'm just going to cut a 5-inch piece of wire here. Okay, so then 5-inch-ish, 5.5 is what I just did. A 5-inch wire. Okay, so again, we have the same problem. We don't want like this to poke anybody. So I'm gonna take the edges and I'm just gonna bend it at the top into a little circle, like so. And then just so that this wire isn't like slip sliding around inside the mask, I'm actually going to take a piece of adhesive tape. This is just like athletic tape, and I'm going to just wrap a little bit of that around the copper wiring. And the whole thing might make it just a little too wide, so I'm just kind of trimming off some of the edge. Like so. And then I'm going to reach in through my pocket and I'm going to shove this little wire piece up against the top there. And you just work it through. Takes a minute, but what we have now is we have a washable outer layer. So that like simplifies. We don't have to do this whole process over and over again because we can just stick these in the laundry, and we think laundry kills coronavirus, so we're good to go, right? And then we just need a filter to keep out as much of the viral particles as we can. So it's not an N95 because it doesn't go to the edges, but again, it's much better than nothing. Is our strategy here. So, and it's got decent droplet precautions. Okay, so I just stuck that in the middle, and I'm pretty sure, like, we'll see, like, we don't need to sew the edges in like of that, but I think we're good to go. You can mess with that if you want to, but that's fine. Okay, so then the last thing we need to do for the mask is we need to put some elastic in there. So the elastic, this is just some round cord elastic, and we need approximately 22 inches of that. So this is 22, I'm cutting And just to make it a little easier to show you guys, I'm going to put a pin through it just because I think it'll be easier, it'll be faster. I don't stick it through my finger. Like so. Okay, so now we're going to go up through the little pocket that we made on the outside here. And then I'm going to go back down through the other side. Okay, so now we have the elastic that goes up through one side, back down through the other, and then we're just going to tie that in a knot because that'll be the easiest way to get this thing to stay together. And so we have not put in the filter yet, which is what we're going to do next. But okay, so then we got that, it's all fitted together. We have the elastic in, so now we need to make the filter. So this is a regular furnace filter. And what we're going to do is we're just going to cut the cardboard off. It has too much glue on it to worry about. So we are just going to cut like so. So I'm just cutting that piece off. So we cut off the edges of the filter all the way around. And then we're just going to pull off the wiring like across the top of this. Like it comes off pretty easy. I already did the other side. So now we have this nice accordion filter here. So we're going to use that to make the inside layer. So we cut out our pattern of the filter layer. I'm going to lay it across the pattern. And once you like unfold this, you realize is like it does have a lot of filters you could make out of one single furnace filter. Okay, so then I'm drawing on the furnace filter here. I'm just using a Sharpie. So then we will cut that out. So then this filter should be good for at least a day. And the sewing part, we don't need to keep redoing that, so we can just stick one filter in and wash the rest, and we should be good to go the next day. So then you're gonna put this in, shaped to the mask, like so. And our pretty good mask is made here. So I am not going to demo this mask that we just made because that would waste it, right? So don't like stick your nose in this, right? Because that automatically contaminates it. We don't know who has what. So this is a mask that I made yesterday. So I'll show you. I'm just gonna put this on my face like so. Put the elastic up on my head. I can form the nose piece to my face, and I'm good to go. All right, you guys can do it.